Describing my practice in just a few words, this is how I define it. This is a short video introduction to sum up my spiritual practice. These themes are very vast and general. I have so much to say about all of them, and you will hear me refer back to these themes over and over again on my channel. So, for the sake of simplicity and introductions, here are the main key themes of my spiritual practice. To start, psychic ability is the core foundational element of my spiritual practice, starting with mediumship. My connection with spirits has been the root of my practice first and foremost from the beginning, as I've been communicating with spirits for as long as I can remember. Spirit visitations and communication was very common for me growing up and is very common in my family. It wasn't something that we intended to do at first. It was a naturally occurring phenomenon for us. I started having these experiences in childhood. My mum discovered this within me when she was raising me. My mum could do this too, and my other family members share in these experiences with spirits. I have other psychic abilities too, for instance, prophecy, and I experience telepathy at times, and some other family members of mine have reported the same. We believe we inherited this from our family line because our ancestors had similar experiences too. And spiritual experiences of all kinds have been happening on both sides of my family, including in-laws who start having these experiences when they become part of the family. This is why I call myself a hereditary medium. Psychic experiences continued with me into adulthood, changing, growing, expanding, evolving, solidifying, and maturing with time. I've called upon spirits in my witchcraft practice since the very first spell I've ever done. I don't know magic or witchcraft or life without spirits. My spirits include the dead, the spirits of Catholicism, the spirits of paganism, and the spirits of folklore from my various cultures. This brings me to another theme, which is experiences. In many cases for me, my interest in these subjects usually begin with some type of prior experience. Experiences often come first for me, before research. It is these experiences themselves that inspired me to begin my research and seek out more knowledge and information. I think experience is really important when it comes to psychic ability and manifesting. Another theme of my spiritual practice is divination. Among the first spiritual practices I learned were methods of divination. I discovered tarot on my own in childhood and began secretly and independently teaching myself how to read as a kid. I became absolutely obsessed with it, although I didn't tell very many people. I have been reading tarot for over 14 years. It turns out that reading tarot eventually became one of my professions, and I've been offering tarot readings to clients for almost 5 years now. Tarot was my gateway into learning more about various techniques of manifestation. When it comes to my practice, I have always been very secretive about it, and so this is a big moment for me. This is the first time I'm sharing so much of my practice in such a public way on the internet. Growing up, I was told by some family members we keep these things secret to ourselves for various reasons. These things being our experiences, beliefs, and practices, that is, until the time was right. And so for the majority of my life, I did, and I didn't tell very many people about them, up until now on my channel, where I am gradually opening up about my spirituality. That theme of secrecy really stuck with me throughout my life, into adulthood, so much so that secrecy has actually become a key component of my practice. It's become a strategy, a tactic, a tool, a method, a part of the blueprint for my practice. This theme of secrecy is sprinkled into everything I do, and although I intend to share a lot, I usually won't share everything, and I will sometimes do things that I don't explain, and most other people would not understand unless I explained it to them. Or, in a lot of circumstances, it's like, if you know sort of thing, and either leave things up for interpretation, show rather than tell, or simply don't show it at all. Things that I keep reserved for myself and my spirits to know. I will not share everything about my practice, and I'm not an open book. There are some things I will never tell anyone or show anyone that I do. I move in silence and keep a lot to myself, and I've found it to be one of my strengths as a practitioner. My practice has always been solitary. I'm very independent in my practice and have practiced by myself for the most part. I've always been socially anxious and introverted, and witchcraft gives me the power to embrace my independence and solitary nature. Another main theme of my practice is culture, heritage, and nationality. I am a multi-ethnic and multicultural practitioner. Paganism, folk magic, and dual faith combining from my various cultures, heritage, and nationalities are part of my practice. I'm a big advocate for multi-ethnic and multicultural practices and encourage this in the spiritual community. Honoring and incorporating all my ancestors and their practices is a principle of my practice. Dual faith is something I grew up with, but didn't have a name for until I started my research. And so, this is the concept I've been practicing the longest. Dual faith is a type of spirituality that shows up across many cultures. The concept of dual faith, combining Catholic elements with pagan elements, has been a key theme of my spiritual practice and has also always been there since the beginning. It shows up in various cultures of mine, for instance in both my Slavic and Italian heritages. This leads me to the next theme of my practice, which is duality. Duality is part of my personal philosophy and moral principles within my practice. Light and dark, good and evil, my practice emphasizes balance. For instance, I engage in the darker side of my practice to fight corruption and injustice. Another theme in my spiritual practice is health and wellness. From psychology to yoga to plant medicine, health and wellness have also been consistent themes that I'm expanding my knowledge on. And next, weather. I am also a weather witch. I really enjoy working with the weather, and this is another phenomenon I discovered on my own by accident. It showed up to me. I didn't show up to it, if you know what I mean. But it was meant to be. I started to notice weather occurrences while I was practicing and connecting to the spirits of my various cultures. Some of those spirits are known to be associated with weather, and I started noticing these patterns show up that were just too perfect to be an accident. It's been a very special experience connecting in this way, and it's something I hold very dear to my heart, because I know how unique these experiences are. I ended up calling these spirits weather spirits, and am deeply devoted to them. My practice is unique, innovative, inventive, and original. And I've noticed this is one of my biggest spiritual strengths. While I do believe in traditions and find them effective, at the same time, I don't like feeling restricted or confined or conformity, and am less interested in the status quo. I believe rules can be broken, as long as you know how to use the broken rules properly. I like experimentation, and I believe being spiritually spontaneous is an intuitive and creative opportunity. There's a lot I've learned that no one ever taught me, and I never read in a book, and I learned through my own experiments, experiences, ideas, intuition, and spirit's guidance. I think this is why I've had a lot of success in my practice. My practice is a combination of different spiritual concepts, and instead of thinking in a this or that, right or wrong mentality, I believe that there is some truth within all different spiritualities, and I'm open to exploring them. My practice is expansive. I am constantly looking for ways to expand my spiritual practice. whether it's expanding my knowledge on plant magic, or incorporating more kitchen magic into my practice, or learning astrology. I love learning and adding more tools to my toolbox to help me in my practice. I am an art witch. I love and enjoy and create all kinds of art. Just like how I've always been very spiritual, I have also been very artistic and creative. Thanks so much for watching, for caring about spirituality, and for taking this time to get to know me a little more. And I'll see you very, very soon. My connection to my spirits happened first through experiences, and the research came second. The first spirits that I discovered sought me out at a young age. I was so young that I don't exactly remember the age when it started to happen. However, some of my earliest memories of it happening were around 6 years old.